Hello, Isabel. What's up? Isabel's cabin is an exercise in controlled chaos. The living space is utterly dominated by an enormous, jury-rigged computer. Serpentine cables snake from component to component, tying dozens of obsolete terminals and cyberdecks together into a single colossal machine. This is my personal machine. If you're looking for your mission computer, it's downstairs. She doesn't bother looking up. You can see that she's elbow deep in the guts of an obsolete cyberdeck. One of a half dozen that have been wired into her computer with the braided cables. Actually, I was hoping I could talk to you. Got a second? There's a long pause, then she chirps out a response. We're talking now, aren't we? I guess so. Can I ask you a few questions? She leans in, scrutinizing the innards of the obsolete deck. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Hey, have you been having dreams, strange dreams lately? Cause I have. Her body goes still. Yes, I think that everybody has. Me too, I've been having horrible nightmares. I know. It happens more often than you'd think. She tilts her head in the direction of the walled city. This kind of mass psychosis was common where I grew up. Everybody got it. Oh, it seems like more magical phenomenon to me. Her voice quickens. I don't really know what it is, and I don't think I want to. I just want to work on my computer in peace. Okay, sure. That's quite a cool computer you have here. Care to tell me about it? She's my pet project. I call her the Octopus. She waves a hand at the tangle of thick power cables that radiate from the machine's central core. You might be able to guess why. Oh, that's pretty impressive work. How well does it perform? She's a monster. She yanks a fried chip from the deck's motherboard and neatly sets it aside, then fumbles in a nearby bin for a replacement. An absolute beast. What is this thing made of? Whatever I could find. Busted terminals, obsolete cyberdecks, aftermarket memory from Maximum Law's dumpster. Scavengers would kill for this stuff in the walled city, but out here, people throw it away. She chuckles to herself as she eases a cord into an empty expansion slot. Most deckers are early adopters. They buy whatever's newest, shell out huge amounts of new yen in hopes of riding the bleeding edge. Stupid. Why? Because I can have 5 of a last year's model for a quarter the price of what that whiz new cyberdeck. And after I've finished daisy chaining them together, the machine that I've built will run circles around your hot new deck. Okay, can you teach me how to do that? Got a couple of years to sit here and learn? Frowning, she yanks a stick of memory from the old deck. I can give you tips here and there first, but really learning how to do this takes time that we don't have. Time and desperation. And I need to make do with what you've got. Okay. What about your portable gear? Your cyberdeck software, that kind of thing? It gets the job done. Might not be top of the line, but I'm comfortable using it in the field. If you should happen to come across any more advanced hardware or software, either on the job or on the discount rack at Law's Techno Palace, I'm not above taking donations, but barring that, I'm fine with using what I've got. Your call. Okay. Hey, can we talk about the ambush at Victoria's Harbour? I'd rather not. I lost friends there. Oh, okay, let's not cry then. You didn't have to apologize, just change the subject. She returns her attention to the octopus, turning her back on you. Would you mind telling me something about yourself? Something. She pauses for a moment. Okay, I don't like small talk. Does that count? Oh, come on, you have to give me some more than that. No, I don't. Look, it's nothing personal, but I'm not interested in talking about myself. I just don't think I'm a very interesting person. Okay. Do you have any thoughts about our last run? I have to admit, I had a lot more fun in Repulse Bay than I thought I would. Parties aren't really my thing, and I'd rather be slicing IC than cake. But how many people can say they went on a run to blackmail a rich guy and ended up fighting his vampire mistress? Nobody on Shadowlands would believe me if I told them the story, not even a little. I don't get why Xinjiang hired Shadowrunners, though. There are a dozen better ways to blackmail Ma. Get a decker to plant evidence of embezzling. Either tried to crash his sets and intimidate his crew, burn down a soundstage or two. The way I figure it, he wanted to hire us because he's friends with Ma. It's a messed up friendship, but it's there. One got fired, or you let Ku Feng hang around with Ma. I don't get it. It would have been pretty easy to chase her off and rob him of a major ally. I guess Shenyang got what he wanted, but if he goes toe-to-toe with Ma, I'm going to bet on the guy with the vampire for a friend. Yeah, me too. But maybe we're gonna get a favor from her. Anything else you wanted to know? You don't really like talking about things other than your computer, huh? There's a long pause before she responds. When she does, she sounds vaguely hurt. I prefer not to. Nothing personal. It's just the way that I am. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to know who I'm running with. Don't you? Yes. You're still a mystery to me. There's a long pause. I don't like mysteries, but I do enjoy solving them. She turns, gives you her full attention. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you a question. Hello, Thandu. Hello, hello. How's it going? I'm going to ask you a question, something personal. After you've given me an answer, you get to ask me something. Okay. Think of it like a game of questions. We take turns until one of us wants to quit. Deal? Deal. I'm doing great. Thank you, Pando. Thank you, thank you. You go first. Ask away. We'll start off easy. Tell me what you really think about Duncan. Oh, he's a pain in the ass, but he's like a brother to me. Interesting. Her eyes lit to the doorway of Gobbett's cabin. The corner of her mouth tilts upwards in a slight smile. And a little familiar. Well, you've answered my question. I guess that makes it your turn. How did you and Gobbett meet? The brow furrows, and after a moment she screws her eyes shut. We met as kids in the walled city. My prison was her playground. Oh, I'm sorry if that was uncomfortable. No, it isn't that. I'll be fine. She shifts her gaze to the octopus. I just have a hard time remembering those days. My childhood is kind of a blur. And that would make it my turn. She pauses, considering. So tell me, what was your connection to Raymond Black? Well, he was my benefactor and mentor. I respected him. In that case, my condolences. It's always difficult to lose someone you respect. Your turn. Ask me a question and I'll give you an answer. How long have you been running the shadows with Gobbett? That's a good question. I guess about 4 years now. A decent stretch by anyone's reckoning. And that brings us back to my turn. Okay, that was an easy question for her. She gestures at the cabin walls around you. You enjoy it, don't you? Living like this? Working the shadows? Sure, yeah, this is what I was born to do. He nods slowly. I knew it. I could read it all over you. Your turn again. Go ahead, ask me something. Where did you learn to deck? That's a stupid question, but let's ask it. The Whampoa. I lived there for a while after escaping the walled city. The people there were difficult. We didn't get along, but it was a great place to learn. My turn again. Her head tilts as she studies your face. And I think my last question for you. You're stuck here, marooned, you and Duncan both. He's obviously unhappy with the situation. He keeps going on about the things he left behind. What about you? Is there anything that you want to get back to? I don't think we should lie. Nah, it's fine. Truth be told, I'm enjoying the change of scenery. Nothing. There isn't anything about your old life that you'll miss. I don't know whether to envy you or feel sorry for you. Maybe both. She glances down at the clock on her desk. An antique model with physical hands that look like it was wrenched out of a submarine. Frown spreads across her face. Shit, it's even later than I thought. Now I've still got a long way to go before the octopus is fixed. She begins to turn away, her attention fixed on the stack of partially disassembled cyber decks arrayed in front of her. Aren't you forgetting something? She stops in place, fidgets. If you got another question, go ahead and ask, but be quick about it. Yeah, I wanted you to tell me what you know about the walled city. Why? Well... because that hellhole is getting into our heads, influencing our dreams. Her cheeks flush, just like they did last time. She averts her eyes. No, I'm sorry, but no. Later, maybe. But not now. I mean, the first one is an asshole move, because she did say that we can stop whenever someone doesn't want to answer, so... okay, sure, maybe next time. Thinking, she turns away and buries herself in the octopus's splayed innards. Please excuse me, I have work to do. Anything else to talk about? She's jacked into the octopus, her body sits inert, her writhing shadow. As you approach, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus's view screens. Hello there. It's good to see you again. She smiles down on you from the monitor, her outline scintillating with blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease. Nice avatar. That's a good look on you. Isn't it? I've spent months customizing this avatar. It feels more real to me than my own skin. Okay, you feel real at home in the Matrix, don't you? You look happy in there. I suppose that I am. It's a comfort thing. As long as I'm jacked in, I can be whoever I want to be, whatever I want to be. Out there in meat space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. The avatar offers you a lopsided smile. I'd probably just live in here if I could. I've heard about deckers who tried it, but it never turned out well. Dehydration is a bad way to go. I know, and of course I was joking. But truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there, wishing that I was back in here. If you were a decker, you'd feel the same. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it feels to leave your body behind. She pauses for a moment, considering. Then her avatar shimmers forward, filling the screen. A slight frown crosses her face. You know, Fist, I've been thinking about the question you asked me a little while back. The one about the walled city. The avatar fidgets. The one that I dodged. Oh. Yeah, I remember. Look, I wasn't trying to cheat out of your answer. I want you to know that. It's just that talking about the walled city is problematic for me. Yeah, I guess. I grew up in the Barrens, so I know how hard it can be to talk about this stuff. No, it isn't that. I'm not explaining myself correctly. It isn't that I'm tortured by bad memories or anything like that. The problem is that I can't remember my childhood. She did say that her childhood is a blur. The walled city, that entire chapter of my life, is nothing but a blur to me. I can give you general information about life on the inside, but specifics of my own experience are gone. What do you mean, gone? Do you have amnesia or something? Something like that. The avatar fidgets on the screen. There were a variety of factors in play. Oh, maybe she deleted those memories somehow. The upshot of all this is that there are things that I can tell you about, but only a few, and only in bold strokes. Don't expect any personal stories. I couldn't share them, even if I wanted to. So if that's okay with you, if you'll be satisfied with trivia and urban legends, then we can talk. Just say the word, otherwise, well, At least now you know why. Okay, how did you lose your memories? The avatar frowns. I'd rather not go into it, it's personal. Suffice it to say that I've never missed them, at least not until now. Okay, yeah, if you want to talk about it, I'm good. Looks away, great. I'll keep that in mind. Okay, what can you tell me about the walled city? Alright, I can do that. Isabel's avatar turns, begins to pace on the screen. Where she steps, spiderwebs of light spread across the tiled grounds of the octopus's sculpted matrix hub. When I think of the walled city, the thing that stands out the most in my mind is the legends, the mythology of the place. If I hadn't lived with them, I might have found those stories fascinating. The scintillating figure turns to you on the screen. Did you know that Kowloon Walled City is supposed to be cursed? That's what the locals believe. We had ghost stories and everything. Oh, ghost stories. Our own homegrown legends about things that haunted Walled City. Demons from another place. The Yama Kings. Well, yeah, tell me. Sure. Too bad we don't have academic etiquette. It'd probably be easiest to think of them like urban legends. Our own little pantheon of monsters and mortality tales to frighten ourselves with at night. The stories are still clear in my mind, even after everything that happened. Everyone in the walled city believed them. You can get out of the walled city if you make a deal with Fu Mang. Cut the hearts from the 44 people closest to you and bring them to him. He will reward you with riches. Don't go under that arch, or Chanya will catch you. The avatar grabs at the air, his hands leaving glowing trails as they move. You'll rip out your teeth, tie your tongue in a knot, and make your hair a slave for eternity. We had Che Shan, our own homegrown judge of souls, who would let themselves be flayed alive in hopes that he'd reawaken them in a better life. And we had Lam Bai, the Ebony Queen, who would teach you to hide so well that you'd slowly mutate into a cockroach. The avatar cocks its head, smirking, a dismissive gesture. It's all bullshit, of course, but everybody in the walled city believed it. Well, if everyone believed in these things, maybe they are real. She shakes her head. No, they can't be. If they were, the body count in the walled city would be a lot higher. The Yama Kings are just fiction that my parents and neighbors invented to excuse their own actions. I can't get ahead because the demons are keeping me down. It's almost embarrassingly transparent when you really look at it. Lam Vai turning people into cockroaches. It's just a Kafkaesque trope layered onto a morality tale. Xishiang is just Anubis with a different coat of paint. And you know that archway that I mentioned? The one that Qian Ya was supposed to haunt? I know someone who found it. There was nothing on the other side but concrete. It's all superstitious drivel, this. The misery in the walled city isn't the fault of demons or devils. Isn't the fault of demons or devils. We created it, and we perpetuate it. We blamed made-up monsters for our own failings. There's nothing more pathetic than that. Okay, but what about the shared dreams then? How do you explain those away? I don't know. Mass psychosis, or maybe something magical is going on. But it isn't them. They aren't real. They can't be. Anyway, that's enough for now, huh? I'm sure that gives you plenty to chew on. My obligation to give you an answer is satisfied, I think. Let's talk about something else. Okay, can you think about anything else that might help us? I don't know, maybe. I'll put some thought into it. The avatar pauses, turns away. After a moment, Isabel's voice powers through the tradio's speakers. On second thought, maybe I do have an idea. Are you open to taking on more work? Yeah, sure. This wouldn't be the work for Auntie Cheng. Think of it as a side gig that you'd be doing for me. I think I've got a line on some software that could help us. I can't get to it on my own though. It's a two-person job at least. Oh, what kind of software? Kinda hard to explain. It'll be easier for me to just show you, but trust me, it'll help. I have the run all planned out already. I've done the legwork. I know the location. I know the target. Just say the word and I'll send everything I have to your mission computer. You can look it over, weigh it, and decide what you want to do. Okay, yeah, that sounds great. The Isabel avatar closes its eyes for a moment, then opens them with a smile. Done. You'll find the pertinent documents waiting in your inbox. If you decide to accept the mission, just check the box in the message documentation and it'll ping my comlink automatically. Okay, can't wait to find out what it is all about. I'm sure that the briefing I sent you will satisfy your curiosity. Trust me, Fist. This is a good job with a solid plan behind it. You'll see as soon as you've read it. And speaking of which, we should go do that now. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. The avatar beams at you. Fantastic. I can't wait to hear what you think. Can we talk about the last... Oh. Yeah, I haven't read it yet. Oh well, in that case, please read it soon. I really think that this job is a good idea, and it won't have any noticeable impact on the work that we're doing for Kindly Cheng. It's a win-win scenario for us. We just need to go do it. So anyway, you're back. What can I do for you? Yeah, do you have any thoughts about our last run? She shakes her head. Nope, sorry, jacking into the octopus is how I relax after doing a long day of work. Some people go to sports bars or strip clubs. I do this. As a rule, I don't spoil my leisure time with shop talk. Okay, sure. It is. If we didn't mind changing the subject. Okay, bye-bye. Sure. Drop by anytime. Gobbet, hello. I still have to talk to you. Gobbet's nest is pretty much what you'd expect. Piles of clothes on the ground. An overflowing garbage bin surrounded by stacks of instant noodle packets and towers of tinned oysters. Avant-garde posters haphazardly tumblebacked to the walls, overlapping in some places and peeling in others. Feels a lot like an art school dorm room. Gobbet reclines in a corner, cradling a bowl of soup in her hands. At her feet, a cast iron pot simmers away on an electric hot plate. Contents are typical Hong Kong comfort food: chicken-style soya broth, elbow macaroni, tinned ham, and a heaping scoop of egg-flavored mycoprotein. As you wind your way through the piles of dirty laundry, Gobbet slowly lifts her head from her bowl to acknowledge you. Hey, Sirto. She chooses the words along with a mouthful of cheap pasta. The corner of her mouth curls up into a half smile. How's Strix? Oh, it's been better, it's been worse. That's the attitude, very stoic, very strong. It's downright inspiring. She skims an oily slab of fore ham off the top of her soup and pops it into her mouth. Now, you want to tell me what you're doing in my bedroom? I'm assuming you're not here to admire the view? Yeah, I just want to know, have you had any nightmares recently? Her jaw stops working mid-chew. Slowly she nods. Yeah. Yeah, I have. We all have. Everyone in town. Yeah, me too, and Isabeau and Gun Show. Everyone had. Let me guess, you saw the walled city in a black whirlpool and teeth. Thousands and thousands of teeth. She holds up a hand. You don't need to answer. I already know that I'm right. It's because I had the same dream. Creepy, I know. Her voice goes quiet. The dreams are coming from inside the walled city. I'm sure of it. All of the negative energy pent up in there. All of that pain and anger and poisonous chi, it's leaking out. And while we sleep, it's getting into us. So if you're sure of that, why sell on Kowloon? Why not pick up and leave? Oh, I was planning on it. Now with the APB in place, Auntie Cheng is the only thing standing between us and a bullet in the head. Believe me, I'd leave if I could. But I'm a lot more frightened of the HKDF than I am of a few bad dreams. At least the dreams can't hurt us, right? Who says they can't? She tries on a smile, fails. Does her best to laugh it off. Don't worry, CO2. We're fine here, but let's talk about something else, huh? I don't like thinking about the walled city very much. Too many old fears and bad feelings. Okay. How did you decide on the name Gobbets? I didn't. She pops an odor into her mouth and chews. My mom did. Aren't you using a street name then? Isn't that dangerous for a Shadowrunner? Nah, not really. I'm sinless. There's no electronic record of a girl named Gobbet even existing. The only thing that could really threaten me would be, say, the HKPF attaching an APB to whatever file they have on me. That would be terrifying. Oh yeah, sorry about that. She shrugs. It is what it is. Would you mind talking about that ambush on the docks? Yeah. She nods slowly, frowning. Yeah, I figured you would. That was a hell of a thing, right? Well, you could say that. Oh, actually, I'd go a little further than that. It was a clusterfuck of epic proportions. Yeah, that it was. Nightjar and Gutshot were two of the strongest men I've ever known. Quality Shadowrunners, both of them. I've watched those two fight through situations that kill anyone and come out on top. And how do they go out? Mimes holding a rifle makes a show of peering down the scope. Bang, bang, dead, dead. No blaze of glory, no final speech. Just extinguished, smashed like bugs. Well, we would have gone the same way if you hadn't gotten us out of her. She absent-mindedly raises her bow to her shoulder. A rat crawls over the slope of her back and lowers its head to lap at the broth. It was more rat than me. Just one who grabbed me by the gut and led us toward the sewer entrance. All that I did was follow. Yeah, I want to learn more about Rat. What's the other one's name? She's got two rats though. This one is a rat. And there's another one. It's in the folds of her clothing. What kind of totem is the rat? She slurps thoughtfully at her soup. A clever one. She's gotten me out of more trouble than I care to mention. Getting me into a fair amount of it too. But I can always count on her to lead me out of hot water when I need her to. I can feel it in my belly, you know, a sort of tugging sensation. I've long since learned to follow it. Oh wait, the totem? Not the animal itself, just the totem, is it? Okay. I wasn't aware the totems took such direct control of the shamans. Usually they don't. Me and Rats, we have a sort of a special bond. She takes care of me and I've always done my best to take care of her. Another pair of beady eyes blinks up on you from Gobbet's hip. The second rat scurries up her shoulder to join the first. And to pamper her earthly children like these two. Meet madness and folly. Hey, what's up, rats? They say hi. She brushes her fingers across the white rat's mottled coat. Don't trust folly, she bites. How did you come across them? I mean, it's probably a pretty dirty city, so there's probably gonna be a lot of rats, right? She raises an eyebrow. I looked outside. I mean, they're rats. Hong Kong isn't experiencing a rodent shortage or anything. They just picked them off the street. Yep. Think of them as rescue vermin. You could probably do the same if you wanted to. It's easy. Just walk into any alleyway in Kowloon after sundown and stick your hand in the first dumpster or storm drain that you come across. Keep fishing around until you touch fur. I might just have to try that. You probably shouldn't. She continues to brush Folly's coat. The creature chirps happily at her touch. Odds about 50-50 that you'd get your hand chewed off. I'd probably feel bad about that. You seem pretty comfortable with all of us. Have you been running the shadows for a while? She dips her chin. A long time. Started when I was just a kid. The memo we got from the police, not really the police, the Shadownet or whatever. The profile said she was 23. So I don't think she's gonna appreciate me calling her a kid. I gather you've seen a lot of action then. She rolls her shoulders. Plenty. Been in more firefights than I can count. You're pretty new at this, you and Duncan both. It shows. She takes a moment to study you. Slowly, her mouth tilts into a smirk. What you need is a wizened mentor, an experienced runner from whose experience you can benefit. I'm thinking that might as well be me. I mean, sure, why not? I could use the advice, and I don't see why Isabel... Oh, I don't see Isabel volunteering for the job anytime soon. You're in? Good. Starting next time you visit, I'm gonna teach you all about being a Shadowrunner. She stifles a yawn. You're gonna benefit from my bountiful experience. Wait and see. I'll be looking forward to it, sure. Gubbet stretches, stifles a yawn. A rat scurry from her shoulders down to her hips. She taps the simmering pot on the floor with her boots. The soup inside her has reduced down into a thick, viscous gravy. No, Seattle. It has been a nice chat and all, but it's getting late. Nice to have the rest of a hot pot to power through. So without wanting this to get awkward, she glances towards the door. Okay, sure, I'm gonna go out. Take it easy. Yeah, you too. And I'm gonna talk to you again. Because I should have talked to her before, but I forgot. Gubbet looks up from a dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. The rats, madness and folly, scurry from her hips up to her shoulders. Two sets of beady red eyes fix themselves on you. Hey, Seattle. Oyster? She spears a grey lump of seafood with her fingernail, extends it to you. It smells like low tide at a municipal pier. Sure, why not? You pop the rubbery water flesh into your mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward. Good, right? Half-repressed memories of dumpster diving and barons dance merry jig in your brain as the mangled oyster slides down your throat. Yeah, delicious! I wouldn't go that far, but it's seafood, and it isn't made of soy. That makes it good in my book. She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and then flicks it into the overflowing bin at her side. So what do you need? How do you like life here in the bolt hole? It's fine. Shaping up. Having new roomies is always nice. She smiles. Are you enjoying your cabin? Comfy enough for you? Yeah, it's better than some of the places I squatted back in the Barrens. I've heard stories about the Redmond Barrens. Sounds like a real winner of a place. Colin isn't any better, of course, but at least our little slice of home is safe. That is true. It's handy having a mob boss on our side. Yeah, handy. Auntie Cheng is definitely that. You have frowns. Don't know if I'd say that she's on our side, though. Yeah, I know what you mean. Of course you do. Let's change the subject, huh? I'd rather not think about the old woman right now. Oh yeah, any thoughts about our last run? Man, every job we get could be about going to fancy parties and stealing their food and booze. I'd be a happy camper. Excuse me, Gobbet, we weren't supposed to be stealing food. We were supposed to sabotage a soap opera by having an actress be fired. Okay. Okay. I don't understand why those street types get in their real rivalries, but I sure as hell won't turn down money to help them blackmail each other. I have to wonder, do you have a soft spot for vampires or something? I mean, it's awfully nice of you to let Kufeng live, but don't you think it's dangerous to let her hang around in public? Sure, we got Wong fired from the show, but even so, Kufeng seems pretty new to the whole vampire thing, though. I'm betting she'll piss the wrong person off and end up with a stake in her chest sooner or later. No, I'm hoping that we get a favor from her later when we need help. That would be nice. So what else do you want to chat about? But yeah, the bolt hole is a pretty mediocre name for a ship. Do you consider maybe changing it? Yeah, sure. Considered it a bunch of times. I never really cared enough to actually do it, though. She shrugs. You want to color something else? I'm open to it. What about the Kraken? Lion seems right, nice, but the Kraken seems nice. Especially since we have an octopus there. Aye aye, Captain. The Kraken it is. She nods enthusiastically. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I think the others will be happy with it. Okay, you said that you'd teach me about how to be a better Shadowrunner. Still remember that, do you, huh? I just sort of assumed that you'd lack that off. Oh, hey, no dice, wizened mentor. You offered, now pay up. She straightens. Okay. How about this? I'll tell you a story about a run gone bad. You tell me what you'd have done in the runner's place, and then we'll compare notes on your answer. How does that sound? Okay, sure. She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back of her one-pointed ear. After a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lip and nods. Okay, so this is a story from early in my career. I was part of a team here in Hong Kong, but I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based out of Macau. I was a busy kid. Okay. The job was a hit on this tower, sort of a trade multiplex slash apartment complex. I'm sure that they've got them in Seattle too. You know the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin apartments on top like barnacles and a whale. Yeah, I used to go to one back in Seattle. Best way to watch Urban Brawl. She nods. Good. You know what I'm talking about then. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. The story was that an ex of hers, a guy named Boggs, lived there. She'd been cooped up with him until about a week prior, then things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to give back some things that Boggs kept when he kicked her out. Scare the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like a robbery. No, the drill. Okay. It was a standard smash and grab then. Yeah. It was a pretty bush league gig, but the pay was decent enough. Not the sort of thing you'd turn down. So anyway, Sibilance, that was a group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet because the Metroplex had a panic system wired directly to the Hong Kong police force. But we'd gone in shooting. We'd been drowning in cops within 10 minutes. Sib thought that we could maybe take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Boggs' door when the movie got loud. We'd camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, then smash our way in with his neighbors, none the wiser. This sounds kind of familiar. Is it... Okay, well, there's no way that would work. I don't know, it might have, if things had gone different. But it's what we did, so pipe down and let me tell you the rest of the story. So we waited in the hall, just like Sibilance planned. We had a guy on the elevator, another at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sib took on a position by the door. She had these cyber legs that she dumped a ton of new yen into. Hydraulic jacks, strength enhancements, the works. Girl could probably leg press a dump truck. She pauses for a moment. Come to think of it, most of her plans involved kicking things. There's something a little sad about that. Hey, if it was her thing, I wouldn't question her. Yeah, you're very supportive. Me, I'd have preferred to work for someone who chops with her head instead of her robot legs. Anyway, we heard a boom from downstairs, felt the wall shake with a reverb. Sib wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick, just as she'd planned. From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what happened next. I could hear a massive crack as the boot slammed into Duraplast. The door flew off its hinges, exploded off, might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. There was a moment of silence, then Sybil let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles. It looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed. Everything but the door, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember that this was a coffin apartment. It wasn't much wider than the door was to begin with. And Boggs, well, what was left of him was under the door too. Oh no. Yeah, it wasn't good. Boggs was dead, and the stuff that we'd been sent to recover had been smashed to bits, and then the building alarm went off. So that's the situation. Our payday is smashed, my temporary teammates are all standing around with stupid looks on their faces, the cops are coming, I'm standing by the kitchen. Lands her hands on her hips, smiling. What would you have done in my place? Well, damage control. I'd have looked for blackmail material to protect myself from the soon-to-be angry client. She nods thoughtfully. There. This isn't what I did, but don't think that it didn't cross my mind. So what did you do? The first thing that popped into my head, it's a lesson to remember, Seattle. The first answer that you come up with is almost always the best one you're gonna have. So just roll with it. Don't second guess yourself, don't hesitate, just act. You'll live longer that way. As for what I did that night, well, I was standing by a kitchen, remember? I could have cut and run. I looked like any other street kid. I'd have blended in, but instead I decided to stay and help my team. Oh, that's not a good idea, is it? When I think crowded theater, I think a place where you can shout fire because it will cause a panic. And then I thought, cops don't charge into burning buildings. They help people get out of them. And as it happened, I had the means to create real, genuine fire sitting right across from me. A pair of industrial ovens. Oh, so you set the building on fire? I encouraged it to burn. Opened the gas vents wide, set the range on a timer, and muttered back into the hallway. The others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down into the lobby. We had to clear the hallway before an errant spark took the whole floor down. Out. Unfortunately, the rest of the group wouldn't listen. Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing with the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to want anything to do with me. I shouted back to them that the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I'd planned, I got out of our run in one piece, so did every single one of the people in that multiplex. My fire plan worked beautifully. If the rest of the team had listened to me, they might have gotten out of the building too. Kind of a bummer that they didn't. At least the run turned out well for me. you killed your team! How? Well, I couldn't collect any pay because the run had been a disaster. But after the explosion, I got to ride in the front of a fire truck, and they gave me cookies and a blanket. I wound up dating one of those firemen a few weeks later. All things considered, it could have gone a lot worse. Goet claps her hands together and rubs them, a satisfied look on her face. So see it all. Laughter disappears from her voice, and her expression goes serious. It's like somebody flipped a switch, suddenly. The look in her eyes is shrewd, calculating. Tell me, what's the moral of this story? What lesson was I trying to convey? Go with your gut, I guess? She nods sagely. That's right. Trust your impulses and don't be afraid to wing it. Almost any action is better than no action at all. Once you've committed to doing something, you've got to follow it through. Though, no arguing or hand-wringing. Just do it. If you get caught up in your own head and agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you wind up dead. A kitchen fire can take you down as easily as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it. Okay. Are you certain that Sibilance and the rest of the Macau team are dead? He shrugs. They weren't with me when I got evacuated with the rest of the moviegoers. I never saw them leave the building. I haven't heard from him since. I guess it's possible that somebody made it, but I don't really run in those circles anymore. Odds are good that if anyone from Macau team did survive, they'll have died off by now from sheer incompetence. Shadowrunning is an unforgiving business. You don't get to make too many mistakes. Okay, did any of that stuff actually happen, or did you just make it up? See it all, I'm hurt. It all went down exactly like I said it did. She pauses. Well, except for a couple of embellishments here and there. But they make it a better story, artistic license and all that. Gobet leans back and stifles a yawn. Madness and folly dart up to her left shoulder and lock their beady eyes on you. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but I'm beat. It's been a long day. Lesson's over for now. We'll pick it back up next time. Okay, see you next time. Yeah, sounds good. I'll have your next lesson ready and waiting too. She makes a brushing motion with her fingers. Scurry along now. Your mentor needs her rest. Okay, let's see that mission that Isabel told us about.